Alright, this is the topic 3 review. In this video, we'll go over everything you need to know to be successful for the topic 3 assessment. The first thing you need to know how to do is how to choose expressions that are written differently but are the same thing as 720,000 or whatever number is given. So for example, if I do A and I write 72 times 10 to the power of 4, would that be the same thing or would that be different? Well, to know that, you have 72 and you have 72. You need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. In this case, there's 4 zeros, so A does work. How about for B? If I do 72 times 10 to the third power, would that work? Once again, it's 72 and you need to have 4 zeros. Here is 72, but this is only 3 zeros. B will not work. So you have to be able to match your zeros. Let's go ahead and try another one. What happens if it's this? What happens if it's 10,000 times 72? Would that work? Well, here's your 72. You need to have 4 zeros. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That works. So either it's an exponent or it's going to be written like 1,000 or 10,000. You must be able to count your zeros and just choose the ones that have the same amount of zeros as the original number. In this case, there's 4 zeros, so you want to choose exponents that has 4, and you want to count numbers that have 4 zeros along with it. Adding on to that, what happens if Mr. Liu says inside the square it's going to be 10 to the power of 3? Would this be true? So if we replace the square with 10 to the power of 3, would it be true that it will be 1,400? So once again, you must be able to confirm that there's enough zeros. There's 3 zeros that you need, and here's only 1, 2. So that would not be true. It will only be true if there was another 0 at the very end to make it 3 zeros on this side and 3 zeros on the other side. And remember, if it's 10 to the power of 0, that's just 1 because there's no zeros. There's 0 zeros. So if it's 17 times 10 to the power of 0, you would just write 17 and no zeros because there's 0 zeros. It would be just 17 times 1, which is going to be 17. The next thing that you need to know is how to multiply a 3-digit by a 2-digit. For example, let's say that Mr. Liu wants to buy 502 teddy bears for a Make-A-Wish Foundation or for a donation to a hospital for sick kids, and every teddy bear costs $13. How much money does Mr. Liu need to fundraise in order to get 502 bears? So you must be able to multiply a 3-digit by a 2-digit, and to do that, we'll do standard algorithm, nice and slow. The first one you want to start off is, here, let me go ahead and erase the 1 and make that into a different color. Let's make that into a blue. So the first one you want to start is your 3. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. You have to check your math facts, and if you're unsure about your math facts, you want to use your name tag or use the math facts that are on the wall. Now we cross out the 3, we put a 0. Now that 1 is not really 1 because 13 is made up of 10 plus 3. So that 1 is really a 10. That's why we put the 0 there. Now it's 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. These are our two partial products. And all we need to do is add them. Notice how Mr. Liu is writing neatly and all my numbers line up. 6 plus 0 is 6. 0 plus 2 is 2. 5 plus 0 is 5. And then 1 plus 5 is 6. Put a comma after 3 numbers. So we know that the product is going to be 6,526. Let's go ahead and try another one with a higher number, so higher digits. So let's go ahead and do 764 times, let's go and do 59. So we'll start off with the 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Make sure you carry it over. 9 times 6 is 54. Add 3 makes 57. And don't forget to add the numbers up top. That's very important. 9 times 7 is 63. add 5 would be 68. These are done. You either cross them out or erase them. You cross out the 9. You put the 0 because 59 is really made up of 50 plus 9. 5 times 4 is, and then the 0 is right there. 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 5 times 6 is 30, add 2 makes 32. 5 times 7 is 35, add 3 would be 38. These are my two partial products. 6 plus 0 makes 6. 7 plus 0 makes 7. 8 plus 2 makes 10, carry the 1. 1 plus that 6 makes 7. 7 plus 8 makes 15, carry the 1. And 1 plus 3 makes 4, put a comma. The final product would be 45,076. Now another way of doing this, if you want, you can break 764 and do it twice. And then on one side you could do times 9, which is going to still be the 6,876. And on the other side you can do times 50. Make it into two math problems if you like, and that will also give you the same number over here, which is 38,200, and then just add those two together. You can do that if you like, but if you like to just do it one time and do standard algorithm, you can do that method instead of breaking them into two different math problems. The next thing that you need to be able to do is to be able to solve word problems. So for example, let's say that there's a skateboard rental store that is renting out skateboards for $13 an hour. And on Saturday, they rented out 36 skateboards that day. And then on Sunday, they rented out 59 skateboards. So obviously Sunday was a little bit more busy than Saturday. So you have to be able to create an equation. So for example, if Mr. Liu were to ask you, how much money did the store make on Saturday? Write an equation to represent that. Well, you know that would be $13 per hour. And you know that on Saturday there's 36. So your math problem becomes 13 times 36. And then equal x. And then x is all you gotta do is multiply it. So then it'll be 36 times 13. I like to write the bigger number up top. And just do the math. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9. Add 1 makes 10. Cross out the 1, cross out the 3, put a 0. Don't forget that 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. And then if you add these up, you'll get 468. So x is really 468. So all we have to do is erase the x, and then we can put on $468 on Saturday. Another question might be, well, how much money did they make on Sunday? Then on Sunday it would be different because now it would be 13 times 59. And then you would just have to figure that out. So make sure you're able to read a word problem and know what to do with the numbers. And sometimes you might do a word problem where it tells you what you need to do. For example, let's say that Mr. Liu has 92 friends in all. I'm just making this up. I actually have less than that. And let's say that Mrs. Newfield has 13 times as many friends. 13 times as many friends. How many friends does Mrs. Newfield have then? So then all you have to do is just multiply 92 times 13. Because if I have 92 and Mrs. Newfield has 13 times, that kind of tells you right there times that you just need to multiply them. And of course that will give you 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 9 is 27. Cross out the 3. Make sure you add the 0. That's important. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 9 is 9. You add those up. And you know that Mrs. Newfield has 1,196 friends in all, and that is 13 times as many as 92. The last thing you need to know how to do is multiply a 4-digit by 2. So let's go and make this up. Let's go ahead and do 6,247 times 30. Let's go and do 38. So for us to do this, we'll just multiply the 8 first. 8 times 7 is 56. Carry the 5. So make sure your math facts is nice and correct and go nice and slow. And then we know that 8 times 4 is 32. And then add 5 would be 37. 8 times 2 is 16. Add 3 makes 19. And you carry the 1. And 8 times 6 is 48. Add 1 is 49. So you have to make sure, 1, your math facts are correct. Because if you have one math fact incorrect, then the whole problem is wrong. 2, make sure you carry over if you need to. So for example, 8 times 7 is 56. I'll put the 5 up top and put the 6 below. So you need to carry properly. And 3, just make sure you write neatly so that we know that if you do write a 0, it does not look like a 6. Now you can either cross these out or erase them. Now you want to make sure you cross out the 8. So 4, add a 0. And then put a 0 there. Because that 3 is not just a 3 ones, it's 3 tens, because it's 30 plus 8. So that's 30. Now you just multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. You just repeat it. Make sure I carry over the 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Add 2 makes 14. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Add 1 makes 7. And 3 times 6 is 18. My numbers all lined up neatly. And they're all written clearly. Now let's add this up. 6 plus 0 makes 6. 7 plus 1 makes 8. 9 plus 4 makes 13. Carry the 1 up top. 1 plus 9 makes 10. 10 plus 7 makes 17. Carry it over. 1 plus 4 makes 5. And 5 plus 8 will be 13. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 makes 2. So put a comma. Our final product is 23,000. Oops, I put the wrong comma. It will be 237,386. And that's all you need to be able to do to be successful on the test. Just be able to count your zeros, be able to multiply 3 by 2, be able to write an equation from a word problem, and then solve it 4 by 2.